As you can see, we're in the hospitality area here at New Hope. When we open back up on June the 14th, the hospitality area will not be open. Now, we're doing that simply to keep you safe. We're trying to reduce as best we can all of the multi-touch sites. We will open hospitality later on this summer. But for now, if you want to drink coffee, you got to bring it. So yesterday we took a look at how Jesus called the disciples to go and rest with him. They went, but Jesus saw the crowd as sheep without a shepherd, and he began to pastor them. Probably that means that he healed, he preached, he taught, and he spent all day doing that. So by the end of the day, Mark chapter 6:35, by this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. This is a remote place, they said. It's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat. And then Jesus does another thing that's totally unexpected. He says to the disciples, you give them something to eat. Now the disciples are tired. They intended to come to this place to rest, but they couldn't. They got there and they found a group that was waiting for them there. Jesus ministered to them. And then when they say they're hungry, Jesus says, well, give them food. It's a remote place. It is a desert. You know the story how Jesus said, what food do you have? And they brought a little boy's lunch. The little boy apparently had said, if Jesus is hungry, he can have my lunch. So Jesus took the lunch and he fed 5,000 people. Now it's interesting here. There's just in the book of Mark, in verse 40, Jesus said, Mark said, when Jesus began to feed the 5,000, they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Now that's unusual. Why in the world did Jesus talk about that? I think what Mark is doing is he is trying very intentionally to remind the Israelites who are reading this book of what happened in the book of Exodus. In the book of Exodus, Israel finds itself in a remote place as well, in the desert, and they're hungry, and they say to Moses, Moses, we are hungry. Moses feeds them miraculously. 2 chapters later, Moses talking to his father-in-law, Jethro, hears Jethro tell him, organize Israel in groups of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and then appoint judges over each one of these groups to alleviate some of the stress that you are feeling. Well, Mark doesn't mention the thousands, since there's only 5,000 people. He doesn't mention the tens, but he does say hundreds and fifties. I think Mark is very intentionally drawing a parallel between Jesus and Moses. Moses fed Israel in the desert. Jesus feeds these Israelites in the desert. Moses organizes Israel in groups of hundreds and fifties and thousands. Jesus has this group organized in groups of hundreds and fifties. Mark is very intentionally making the point that Jesus is the new Moses for Israel. They can look to him to do what Moses did, to lead them out of slavery. Now, not slavery to Egypt, a country, but slavery to sin, slavery to their culture, slavery to the mundane, the ordinary. Jesus tells them, prepare for something completely new. Just like Israel left Egypt, left being a slave nation, to become a nation that at one point was one of the largest countries in the world of its day. Jesus tells us, prepare for something completely new. Get ready for what he wants to do. Tomorrow, we'll continue talking about the new things that Jesus wants to do and what our part in that is.